This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello, and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Should I have the sunglasses? Should I have like the headband just to match some of the pictures for the thumbnails? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But it is, in fact, me and CGB, the one in Best of One. Streak number 856 day in a row, releasing an MTG video. And today in the arena, we are playing The Rock and his minions, a throwback to the original mid-range, the green, black, kill a few things, play a few monsters, attack opponent, draw cards. The pressure of playing in high mythic has just gotten to be too much for me. I can't handle trying to live up to my rank anymore, so we're just going to try to tank it with the thing you should never do in Best of One, which is play mid-range. Also, today is the 9th of June, and the way that we order our dates in the US, which is, by the way, the only correct way to do it, Kappa, just kidding, but roast me in comments anyway, is it the 6 and then the 9 and then the year. So it's a nice date. Leave me a nice in the comments. Today, this deck has a little bit of ramp in Wolfwillow Haven to cast things early and Binding of Old Gods to find some lands. This deck has a good amount of multi-dimensional removal. 4 copies of Heartless Act, which is a good one. 4 copies of Elspeth's Nightmare, which also can hit their hand and their graveyard a little bit for extra value. 4 copies of Binding the Old Gods, which can hit any kind of non-land permanent. 4 copies of Witherbloom Command. This is a fun one. It hits those indestructible creatures, which would otherwise be very pesky to remove, like, what is it? Seasoned Hollowblade. I'm usually good at remembering the name of these things. It also takes out Fervent Champions, Rimrock Knights, Fireblade, Chargers, Selfless Saviors, Professors of Symbology, blah blah blah, my bad. Alcide of Life's Bounty. There are a lot of things that Witherbloom Command hits, while in other decks it can hit Wolfwillow Havens and deramp the opponent, which is very nice. So we're playing a good amount of that. We've also got, for creatures, 2 Scavenging Ooze to take over in the late game. We've got 4 copies of the Gnarled Professor, because we are a Best of One deck, and this 5/4 Trample Learn card is just good value on a body that can attack. And we've got 4 copies of the new Spirit Monger, you might say, Elder Gargaroth. I wish it had regeneration like Spirit Monger did back in the day. It's an old ability. Don't ask me to explain it. Just look it up. But this is our killer. Hopefully we can take their removal spell with the Elspeth's Nightmare, cast the Elder Gargaroth, and take over the game. And on top of that, we have 2 copies of Professor Onyx to dig through our deck, gain a little life, gain a little value, and 2 copies of Harness Infinity to return the whole graveyard back to our hand and do it all again. So even though we're mostly a fair deck, just playing a little of this and a little of that, jabbing and jiving, we do need a roundhouse punch to put us way ahead if we're just in a staring match with, say, a Blink deck, like a Yorion deck. And Harness Infinity is that card. Just get the whole graveyard back and do it all again. And then in the sideboard, we got some lessons. I didn't actually put a removal lesson in this time. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe it does need like a Necrotic Fumes, but I don't have a lot of creatures to exile, which is the reason I don't think that's quite right. But we've got the Mascot Exhibition, which is the most common fetch because we do get up to 7 mana in our mid-range deck and we need those knockout punches. Confront the Past can make sure that Liliana comes back or the opponent's Planeswalker gets dead. Basic Conjuration hopefully means draw target Elder Gargaroth in the late game, which is really nice. Containment Breach contains artifacts and enchantments, and of course hitting your land drops is pretty key, although we learn on 4 mana here, so maybe I don't need 2 environmental sciences, but I'm sticking with them. They're the warm fuzzy blanket that I enjoy so much in this format. So that's the deck. Green black mid-range. Probably gonna finally start tanking that rank. I can't imagine it holding up too much longer. I enjoyed the foray into unranked a little bit, but it doesn't take much to remind me that I just need more stakes and more competitive fire in my life. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, if you want to do me a big favor, you can renew Twitch Prime. It's not quite that time of the month, but it does go with the nice theme because it would be nice to renew Twitch Prime. So if you're one of those who supports me that way, check it out. Let's dive in. Also, stay till the end to get my thoughts on the deck, the win rate from the video, and to hear the dedication and get a cosmetic purchased in the honor of those who are part of the CKC. So let's dive in. Let the green-black nonsense begin. All right. the beginning of the D rank, it has to be this deck. Wow, 2 of our top end cards in our opener. That's not great, but I do have the Witherbloom command and the Scavenging Ooze to try to team up on whatever our opponent starts with. I twitch. Kind of something they want to die, though. It's awkward. Let's go start with the Forest. How do we not be a creature deck? We should probably hold Scavenging Ooze until we see a Kroxa if we can help it. Yeah, it's a Forest. Alright, they did nothing. Kind of an interesting question of whether or not we use a command here. Giving them the Sciences might let them fix their mana, but they might also sacrifice this anyway. Yeah. We didn't come here to not make plays, did we? All right, learn your lesson. Is it going to be a pest summoning? It is. How obnoxious. But we need to just march up the chain so that we can play this beautiful array of cards that our opponent is now going to disrupt. Nice. Very nice. So, the good news is this cost them their whole turn, and we're not in a rush. So it gives us a little bit more tempo. The bad news, they get to pick something here, but if they don't pick Harness Infinity, then it means that they're trying to end the game quick. Okay, they picked the Gargaroth, so maybe they have a way to pick off the Infinity later? I don't know. Should we just play this? Probably get stolen and used against us. But right now our curve is looking so good. This is where I need a Yorion to buy, you know what I mean? Yeah, let's make them deal with this. Play around a Heartless Act. And a Bonecrusher Giant. Pretty rough card for them to deal with, honestly. They have to find a way to kill it. And maybe their plan is to steal it. I'm not interested in eating my own graveyard with the cards that I have. Ooh, Gnarly Professor. What you got? Ooze says, let's get busy. Fetch it up. Let's get another black. We could play this to ramp and try to get to the Professor and the Harness. But right now, we're doing pretty good on board at pressuring them, so let's lean into that a little bit more. Let's make sure we keep hitting land drops. What's that? Extinction event? Guess so. So there's some kind of Rakdos control? Kind of weird. Kind of weird. They know about Professor and they know about Harness Infinity. So let's see if they can do anything about it. You run that in your Extinction event deck with... I'm confused. Can't lie to you guys, I'm confused. So if we play this in minus, Bonecrusher kills it. Let's just bind this a Yaya. That way we get our ramp, we get this ticking, so we're more likely to get it back. Which witch is which? This witch. Alright, you made some pests, and you got to learn. Good value. Good value. Just gonna use this to kill the witch. The opponent will attack Professor Onyx, but we'll get it back. She's coming back home. Okay. I'm still like, what is this card doing in your deck? Heartless Act, pretty good. Black, 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 green, green, green. So it doesn't really matter here. Want to do this on the opponent's turn so we get to skip the first discard step with all these cards. First day of class. Okay, learn, and whenever a creature enters, put a counter on it and it gains haste. So that's a combo with Pest Summoning to deal some damage. All right, so our opponent's showing a little bit of explosive output here. Heroic reinforcements, but with pests. Poggies. My turn. My turn to do cool things. Let's see how it works out for you. All right, where to begin the dismantling? If we play a Gargaroth, they have to deal with that, right? So that's a good place to start. Then we have 5 extra mana. We can use one of it to play a Haven, effectively 1. And then we can Witherbloom Command and Heartless Act. This can also gain a little bit of life. Or we can just double Heartless Act here, if we want to avoid discarding. Let's just play 1 Heartless Act and hold the other open. Yeah, that's kind of weak. Actually, we could play Binding. Yeah. Just get that ticking again. And let's see if the opponent can deal with the Gargaroth. They ran Extinction Event before, and they have another one, because why wouldn't they? Alright, fun. Now we can play Onyx and activate Magecraft a few times. One, two, three, four, five, six. So we get 3 spells here. Let's go ahead and go to... Do we want to mill? I guess we have another Harness Infinity, but we have enough cards in our graveyard, and I don't need another land. Let's just do the drain. Make sure that they can't cheese us out in some sneaky way. No kidding. Village Rites. Who would have thought? Alright, Sciences. Destroy this. Alright, we're up to 20. Let's go ahead and plus. And we'll grab another command. Alright.
Never thought I'd miss the library.
As long as they don't predation the other Harness Infinity, we're way ahead. So that's something we have to keep in mind. They play a Bastion, which sneakily gets around our Witherbloom Command, but not around Binding. We also have Nightmare. There's actually multiple good cards here, but let's take the one that eliminates the Bastion, as it is a huge threat. Keep draining. And we have Harness Infinity open, so if the opponent tries to predation us, we can Infinity in response. Get our awesome graveyard into our hand. Stadium. I mean, that's one way to do it. Okay. Nice. All right. To infinity and beyond. Cards. There's still a swamp in the deck? I guess we'll go get it. $23 cards to go for those nervous Nellies. Find the Bastion. Let's play out some of these. Don't want to discard them to hand size. Let's get the Nightmare down and get rid of the opponent's graveyard. Get rid of this pesky token. Slam the Gargaroth. Let's wait till we see our opponent's hand. Command you. We got you down to 10, mostly from Witherbloom commands. That's pretty fun. I don't think there's any lands left, but we may as well do this. Dig. Gnarly Professors. Cool. Heartless Act open. Could have, instead of Sciences, dug first and played a Professor. So I think that's the mistake I made. Retriever Phoenix. Mike Punch, what's this? Retriever Phoenix Rakdos. Hype. So with the trigger on the stack, I could have killed this Retriever Phoenix. Kind of a mistake that I didn't. Because now the opponent gets a Retriever Phoenix. But they have to exile it, which... Yeah, if they went for an attack here and they know about the Heartless Act, then we could Heartless Act it and they don't get to play the Fumes. On the bright side... Another Extinction Event. Extinction Event Rakdos over here. Pretty weird. Let's threaten lethal, shall we? It'll be fun. Your go. Hope you drew a good card. Pest summoning. Yeah. You love to see it. Don't forget that Death Touch. Death Touch with Trample is a combo. Plumb the Forbidden. Cool. Knock yourself out. What a different take on Rakdos from the opponent. Smash, go rock. Rock smash. Well, the Witherbloom command has to hold it down on the draw, but if we get up to binding, we'll be pretty good. Hopefully we just draw Wolf Willow Haven and we're fine. Okay. So we might have to fight the dragons. How's our matchup with the dragons? Pretty rough, right? And just counter our best cards. Although if we resolve a Gargaroth, it's going to be a big pain. And they're already foretelling. This isn't going to hit much. I mean, it might hit a Brazen Borrower. It might also hit a Tome or a Treasure. All right, let's hold it. Boredom. All right. That's a card. Let's put them to the test with the Nightmare. They'll probably play Saw It Coming. Now we need them to play Galazeth Prismari so we can bind it. Or we need Gargaroth to resolve. Okay. One less dragon. See how equipped they came to just slam their Goldspan dragon, counter my spell, and win. Easy. Magic is so easy sometimes. Alright, big question is, do they have the counterspell? They already played one, and they snapped it off pretty quick. Nice. One less dragon. I bet that finds another dragon. That's how that card works. Interesting. Dig, dig, dig. Well, you can't play that land, so that's just getting exiled. Might be an oops. We'll see. Curious what they kept. Let's search for a forest. Play this land. 7 mana, so let's lead with... We could... No, this doesn't play around Mystical Dispute. We could play the Gnarly Professor to get around Mystical Dispute. Let's go with the command. Let's go with Milieu. Destroy. A little less mana, please. And see if we can get an action out of them. Nope. The top 3 aren't very exciting either. First Gargaroth. Big Reachy. Okay, that's not a Brazen Borrower. That's a Bone Crusher to the face. That's a lot better than a Brazen Borrower. Also, Bone Crusher to the face means they're not going to try to trade like a dragon with the Gargaroth, which is pretty cool for us. So what are they going to do? Double Frostbite? We saw one get milled. They can try to trade a Bone Crusher and a Frostbite for it. That is a thing. Yeah, okay, they're going to do this. I mean, I'll take it. They didn't stop the last one. Draw. I'll take, like, kind of a 3-for-1 here. Get rid of their Haven. Feels good. Speaking of Havens, I've got one too. So I think we just try for both creatures. Maybe they'll counter the Gnarly Professor. Let's find out. A little stick, but it came down just fine. All right, let's get the Exhibition and just go hard. Gargaroths and more Gargaroths. They're moving in herds. They do move in herds. All runs Epiphany. You get another turn. Make it a good one. We're going to test our opponent for reach knowledge. Are you aware that the beast has reach? Wow. Pretty good card to have in that specific moment. Really good card to have in that specific moment. But it doesn't solve the Gargaroth yet. The opponent basically got in an attack with the bird, and now they face the same issues. Yay, land. Lucky me. Go team. Gonna need some creatures. I mean, you're taking extra turns. Are you going to do something cool with them? The last one you took, you Magma Opused afterwards. You probably want to Magma Opus, then get your extra turn. But not this player. This player goes hard. This player goes strong. But enough with the land. For goodness sakes. We need like Harness Infinity up in here. I mean, there's an attack all, but don't worry about that. All right, so we're probably trading away this Gargaroth, but we got to get this dragon dead. I'll trade the 4/4s, it's fine. Let's draw again. Yep, we know. We know. Yay, land. Yay for land. More land. Billions of land. All right. Ooze. That's a banger. As my podcast co-host Arjuna would say. Let's get right up in there. Let's get around the frostbites. What am I doing with this gnarled professor? Confront doesn't get me back anything. Probably Conjuration. Try to find another Gargaroth. But let's save that for next turn after we've oozed our way up the ladder. So what have they done? They've done 2 Allrun's Epiphanies. They've got another Dragon. That's the last card out of their hand. They've got 2 more Faceless Havens. What a machine. They've got a bunch of knuckleheads on the ground that aren't going to beat a Scavenging Ooze. Like, this is where Ooze... We've forgotten what it can do in the late game, but it can shine. We don't want to exile our own graveyard until we absolutely have to, because of Harness Infinity. Land! Cool. Alright. In theory, some creatures should be in here somewhere. Wow, look at what I put on the bottom. No land to be found. Magic is great. So what do you think? Do we Professor to discard this? Getting Conjuration doesn't really do anything. Confront the Past doesn't do anything. We just put away the Professor Onyxes. The Containment Breach, they just sacrifice the treasure. The Environmental Sciences has just gained 2 life. The Pest Summoning isn't very useful. So let's look at the creatures in the graveyards. There's none left there. Here we threaten 1, 2, 3, 3. So if we pump this 3, it kills not quite everything. How aggressive can we be? They have to block this. They want to double block it. Can they triple block it if I attack with all? I guess they can. Let's do this. Boom shakalaka. Let's send the 5/4. If they want to make trades, we can just keep eating the graveyard with the oozes. So it's perfect for us in a way. And the Gargaroth returns. Yeah, it is nice. I love this card in my rock deck. It is the hope for green-black, we might say. Oh, we're moving all in. Oh, I see. Yeah, let's come at me. That's what I thought. Oh, cool. I got 1 ranking point out of the win after losing 9. Cool. All right, 1 point at a time. Climbing back up. This hand is pretty good, right? We have Haven and Nightmare and Professor. So Ooze will probably be good at some point. Let's just hope we're not run over by 1, 2, 3, removal, game over. There's 1. Nice. Come here. All right, no 2. So we're still in this game. Submit 1. So if we play this and the opponent plays Skyclave, then we can take their Skyclave and it's pretty good. But what are we doing if we're not ramping, right? And if they Skyclave this, we're pretty happy because we Nightmare that. All right, let's go here. Opponent might think that we're Emergent Ultimatum right now. Yep, there's the Skyclave. This gives us a really good Elspeth's Nightmare. That cuts off the speaker, at least for a moment, before they put a Sky Maul on it. If they do put a Sky Maul on it, we're in big trouble. Because we don't have a removal spell. Blade Historian. Okay. And you want to rumble? Good deal. It's going to be a nice curve. Double Blade Historian land. Cool. Let's get gnarly. And let's go to the sideboard. Now we know we're playing Gargaroth. We don't run removal in the board. Confront doesn't do anything yet. Pest Summoning doesn't seem fine. If they do have Sky Maul, I just want the answer to it, I think. I'm going to grab this. You can also hit an Alseid of Life's Bounty. I'm just thinking about the cards that would actually be hard for us to deal with. The other option was we could just grab a Mascot Exhibition. That's hard to deal with. That is not an easy one. That is a straight up hack is what that is. Okay, offer trade. If they give it lifelink and we block 2 life, then they put a counter on it, it's still a trade. This at least means if we top deck a Heartless Act, we can kill the other one and then the Heliod's turned off. So we definitely take this. This is why I play the Magic. All right, let's get the Gargaroth on the field. We know next turn our opponent's going to play the Blade Historian and attack. Unless they top deck a way to gain life, the Blade Historian will be vulnerable to a Heartless Act and our Gargaroth will be active. Thick. I mean, I'll take 10 to have an active Gargaroth. I'm down with that. I'll take 12 even. Shall we rumble? Let's make board presence. Drawing cards doesn't always work out for me. I think we just do this now. Just because we know it will work. I don't know what the opponent could draw that would mess with it, but any way to gain life and move a +1/+1 counter would be such a blowout that I just don't want to mess with it. Don't want to risk it. All right, nice. Let's go after you. As much as I love Harness Infinity, I think getting a Gnarled Professor is reasonable value, but not amazing value. So let's just go for the beatdowns here. More 3/3s. Try to win the game through aggro. That's a lot of planes. Socks on a plane right there. Yeah, we survived. The opponent flooded out pretty brutally, to be fair to them. We survived. Unless there's a Settle the Wreckage play here. Yep. Got there. There's some ranking spots. All right, Witherbloom Command, Nightmare Haven on the draw. This is pretty nice if the opponent is going to attack me. And well, here you go. It's mono red. Go get the green, I guess. So how many Fervent Champions did you draw? All right, just one for now. This is where the Witherbloom Command really shines. Could mill my opponent, but we have Harness Infinity in hand. Let's mill ourselves. Snarl? Snarl doesn't come in untapped. We have a pathway that's untapped. We can get a passage for the turn after that. Seems fine. Let's just get one of these lands. I guess we do have to thin our deck. We flooded out most games. Let's get the passage. Probably an Annex. Okay, how do we deal with the Annex? We opened up hot, but now we are not. I guess we have to play the Nightmare. And then next turn we have to bind, but this can hopefully take out the Embercleave, but maybe they just play it here. My God. What a draw. 1, 2, 3, Embercleave. Do it. Or Torbrand, whatever. If that's the case, then we only lost because we didn't go first. Nice. So if you were going to play something, you should have done it pre-combat, and you played nothing. All right, show me your hand. What are you doing? What you got there? That's a good draw, too. Wow. Just double Annex. How do we deal with that? We've got to worry about this Haven. The Haven's a pretty big problem. It's not going away. I think right now we play the 5/4. Although if we don't play our Wolf Willow Haven, we're not going to play like Professor Onyx and some of those cards on time. And if we don't play Binding, that's not very good. If we pass, they'll power up Haven and attack. If we play Binding now, they'll play the other Annex. If they play the other Annex, then the Heartless Act can either hit that, and we can have Haven Professor potentially next turn if we top an untapped land. Okay. And we do need the land from the Binding, so getting it ticking is a big deal. Rope for the opponent. Also, if they did top an Embercleave, we'd be mostly dead. So this is a good way to at least play around the topped Embercleave that we know they get, right? Ouch. Down to 8 from that top decked Torbrand. Feels bad. We get a forest. We exile their grave. This is rough. I think we lose. Don't think there's any good way around that. We play this now to play around Embercleave. We're just going to go to 2. Missing the untapped land was brutal. And Professor Onyx is also costing us the game pretty much on her own, unfortunately. Just by being a card in our hand, along with Harness Infinity, but we have 2 top-end cards in hand instead of 2 spells that can interact or do something. It's your go. Mono red. Is there any reason to be like this? I mean, that's lethal, right? So, good job. What a butt. God, I hate mono red. All right, we're on the play. Oh, we have no castable spells before turn 4. What a deal. Try this one? We'll try this one. It is basically an all-land hand, unfortunately, when it comes down to it. So we're going to have to top deck those Gargaroths we shuffled away a few turns ago. Ooze is good. Ooh, ooze. Let's see if they play like a Hollow Blade or something more hittable with the command. Get a ramp on nice and quick. Okay. You got me. Target player. Do I want to mill? I don't have much graveyard value. And if I mill them, I'm likely to hit creatures for ooze. And I already have my land card in graveyard. And I definitely can't be thinking about harness infinity value yet. It's very unlikely we even get to cast that card in this matchup because of how slow it is. Good choice. Yeah, 2 creatures. Did it. Nice. Okay. This would be a good time to top deck Liliana. Okay. Apparition's going after one of the Havens. Nightmare's pretty good draw. Play this Hold Up Heartless Act for the Winota. Although, Winota doesn't really matter when all that they have is a Magistrate. We could have snuck the Ooze on the battlefield, but they might just exile it with a Skyclave Apparition before we get to use it. That's not very good for us. Here, they might app the Haven, and then we'll get to blow it up and get another 2/2, and then have Ooze to follow up. So yeah, we'll get a look at the hand first and see what's cooking. Okay. Boney G. Definitely need more swamps, so might as well crack it. Don't really want to draw more land. Thanks. Thanks, deck. All right, Winota and a million creatures. This is going to be fun. None of them protect Winota from the Heartless Act, though, so we need to slow roll the Heartless Act, and we have to play around the Sacred God favored with the Ooze, which is super uncomfortable. Fortunately, there's a lot of food for this Ooze. I mean, if they have to hold up this Sacred God favored the whole game, that's fine with us, right? Oh, they are about to exile their graveyard, though. We have to make sure we get on that while we can. This is where they go get sciences. Yeah, they just want to hit their land. All right. Eat. Eat. Draw. Eat. Pretty good draw. Main. And then I think we have to rumble. And then I think I play the Professor and I don't hold up Heartless Act for a second. I think that's the play. If they play Winota and they attack with just this and they hit one thing and then we attack them next turn with a 5/4 and a 6/6, it's not quite lethal, but it puts them on a permanent back foot. Ooh, we chumping. Okay. So if they draw an untapped land, they get 1 trigger off Winota, and they're running their Professor into a Gnarled Professor, and their Elite Spellbinder exiles this, but doesn't really shut it down. So let's go for this. More pressure. And let's get... Is there any reason to get something else? I don't think so. I think we just get the Exhibition. If we draw an untapped land, it devours them. So, off the top, did you find your land? If you have to spend this turn casting Sciences, you're in big trouble. Alright. Land located. Vinota? Or is Sigurd gonna pretend to play Magic? Decision of the game right here for the opponent. Like, how do you proceed? Play a 4-3? Interesting. They know that I know about the secret, so they know I'll play around it, which means they would do nothing for their turn cycle. That is a draw. Let's keep the pressure on, shall we?
Open your books to pick. It was going to die eventually anyway.
Aggro. Aggro Mage. This is all about tempo now. Even if they attack and kill Professor Onyx, that's a card that can't block in the future. So they chump. Now they can Bone Crush the Professor, but then they're still facing this army. Sciences. Not the play they wanted to make. App. Ooh, they found a solution to the ooze. Ooh, those are cards. Those are strong cards. I think if we just keep everything dead, we can't lose.
Let's go deeper.
Are you having nightmares, opponent? Onyx is out of Bone Crusher range now. Tapped, smashing. Now they're trying to play the removal game with the Bone Crusher Giant and the Sigurd God favored. Okay. Well, that's fun. I wonder if I'll see it coming. Ah, I do see it coming. Double Winota. Only the Giant can trigger it. Backup, Professor? Guess so. So, if we attack, the opponent plays Sigrid, they exile the Professor, we kill it, we get our Professor back. It's pretty good. We'll just act like we don't know what the card does. Fun. Could deny our opponent the Giant with the Heartless Act. I don't think that's necessary, though. So we could have our opponent take 5, or we could learn another lesson, which I'm down for the lesson, personally. I like lessons. I like card advantage. I like value. Let's go get Gargaroth, I guess. All right, now you've got a Giant. And a Spellbinder, huh? See what you choose. I will leave these up to you. I'm not in a hurry to use the Heartless Act. All right, they take the Exhibition, which is okay, because we're going to ramp soon. So I plan to minus the Professor, which, the greatest power, that'll hit the Giant. And then we'll see what happens from there. I guess if we know that we want this dead, we should do it now. Kill it.
Oh, darn. Looks
Attack.
like you flunked out. Wow.
Oh, so savage. Drain down to 3. Find a gnarly professor. We get to play it. Just keep the beatings coming. This gets back a Liliana if we ever don't have one. Couple tree folk druids on the move. $27-3, 2 Winotas in hand with no forces to join. Winota's a solid deck, but it is a flawed one. You can just keep the creatures dead. It takes a lot, but it works. The Nutty Professor shows up again. Look at all those symbolicals, symbolologies. Spirit Summoning. 3/2 creature acquired. Cool. But I have Death Touch. And combined with Trample, that's lethal right there. Who said the Death Touch on the binding doesn't matter? Huh? That's right. That's right. Death Touch matters. Oh, so sad. And we are back for the post-game wrap-up, and let's check the stats powered by Untapped GG. Link below. Free download, supports channel. Give it a shot. The Rock, 4-3. Look at that. Look at that ugly D ranking playing mid-range going on a 57% win rate. Look at that anti-stair step that a 57% win rate gets you. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. But I did have a good time kind of playing it, and it was an interesting puzzle to solve. But if you want an example why mid-range is a D ranker, that's a good reason. However, let's look at some of the matchup data. Lost to Rogues. Honestly, I didn't feel like playing the match. I scooped it really early. Lost to Mono Red on the draw. Very painful. Had just a bad hand against White. And this is the mid-range problem. You can have convincing wins like we did over Winota and like we did in one of the matches against White, but you still just do lose to aggro sometimes because they have such powerful tools in Winota and Embercleave that you can't expect to always have the answers that you need, and sometimes they kill your Elder Gargaroth and nothing good happened. We didn't even face the unfair decks of the meta like Sultai Emergent Ultimatum or Control Deck, where I would expect things to be even harder. So I expect the deck is not even as good as the 57% win rate in today's video made it look. So I don't recommend playing it, but it's always kind of fun to re-explore these decks that people get into, and it makes for a good video that's divergent from the things that I think you should be playing in this meta, which are namely Winota, Embercleave, or Control. The mono white list is also kind of good, but I don't think it's as good of a high rolling deck as Winota and Embercleave, and I think that good control decks right now can prey on those other decks as well. So that's what I would recommend if you're actually worried about rank. But I had a good time playing some mid-range today, and exploring all the types of decks in Magic and trying to provide a best of one version is part of what I like to do for the channel. So happy to do it. Today's video is dedicated to those people who hit the join button below and became members of the Cool Kids Club to financially support the channel. I appreciate you very much. You get access to special benefits like my Twitch VODs posted on YouTube ad-free, so you can use 2x speed to get through them quicker. You also get access to my deck lists 1 day early before everybody else. And today we are dedicating to Stephen Lisa, Chaff Catcher, Johnny Good, it's either Michael or Michelle Radati, and Eric McLaughlin. So thank you very much, you guys, for becoming members. Also, quick, very important announcement. Look at Graph. Look at Graph. 38% of you not subscribed. Please do that for daily MTG for over 800 days in a row. What are you waiting for? It doesn't get much better. It doesn't get much worse. You know, honestly, it just is what it is. We play Magic every day, all summer long. Hopefully you're entertained by it. If you watch the content through to the end, that does support the content, and I very much appreciate that as well. So to any of you here right now, thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. You're cool.
Thank you.